Among all the competitions across the country, none are as prevalent as racing. For a vast growing amount of enthusiasts, side-by-side racing offers the thrill of open-air racing with the excitement of high speeds. The Best in the Desert Series offers racers a unique opportunity to race against the best off-road drivers in the country, in a challenge that pits all race teams against not only each other, but also the environment. Some off-road racers use the series for constant practice for Mexico's famed Baja 1000. Others compete solely to satisfy their hunger to endure the best of what the desert can throw at them. Welcome to Laughlin, Nevada, home to the first annual Polaris RZR UTV World Championships, where thousands of eager racers and fans have swarmed the town for a weekend of head-to-head desert racing.
We're trying to find the pits, man, trying to get the trailers over here, and now we're trying to get the spare bikes out so we can go pre-run before 11, and it's 10:51.
Obviously, because this was such a big venue and a big event, and it brought in a lot of people from all over the country to race, we were very nervous.
You gotta hurry. Where's Bob? Right here. Get you a piece of paper and a notepad and lock the pickup.
The worst thing that happens if we can just finish, we'll be happy with that, but we hope to do a lot better than that.
To finish the 160-mile race is an accomplishment in itself, but more importantly, the winning team earns the coveted pole position start in the highly anticipated and physically grueling Mint 400, which is less than a month away.
The ultimate goal in the race is to finish. Secondly, as a team owner, is winning.
We got to get through tech and then get back to the trailer. We got little things to do, change face shields. But anyway, we're pumped,
The S3 racing team has traveled over 1,000 miles from their home in Shreveport, Louisiana, to compete in the Best in the Desert Race Series. With their background being cross-country and mud racing in the bayous of the Deep South, they can't help but to feel a little like a fish out of water.
Who's riding with Dustin? Spell the last D-O-W-D-E-N.
This more or less was the first race for us to kind of gauge where we landed as far as the talent of this Best in the Desert Race Series was.
Definitely a beautiful car, Dustin. Thank you, sir.
Their aftermarket mud and off-road shop has built 2 Can-Am Maverick turbos in the last 2.5 months from the ground up.
How we doing?
Good, good.
Information across the top and an email on the side. You got the turbo car?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And so we're all quite apprehensive. We got new equipment, new ideas that we've put into the cars.
I don't know if they're more shocked because we're from Louisiana and desert racing. We built 2 cars in 10 weeks, or the look of the car, but whatever it is, man, they've been taking a bunch of pictures, so it's some reinforcement and it makes you feel good.
The guys are hoping to utilize their fabrication skills to be competitive with their Can-Am Maverick turbos in the Polaris Heavy Limited side-by-side class.
Can-Am's kind of the underdog. Not many up here. The only 2 turbos I've seen in tech right now are mine and Dustin's. We like being the underdog.
With all the talk of the new Can-Am turbos in the lot, the guys are hoping to make a big splash in a big way in tomorrow's race.
We had something to prove to ourselves.
And having a good showing in the race was not only important, but the guys also wanted to introduce the West Coast desert racers to what S3 has made their name doing, building the biggest, baddest mud bikes in the South. This colossal Can-Am Maverick is a mud meets desert mashup for the weekend race organizer, UTV Underground.
I'll be honest, dude, probably one of the baddest bikes we built, man. Baddest bikes we built.
This is right in line with all the UTV Underground cars.
Yeah.
Everything we build is somewhat subtle, but it's like you see it and you're like, damn, like why didn't I think of that?
UTV Underground is known for their cutting-edge side-by-side builds. Founder Joey D has also made his life ambition to grow all things UTV. But as S3 Power Sports is primarily in the South, UTV Underground spends the majority of their time in the desert.
People are following us, from the South. They're following us and they're picking up on what we're doing and they're stoked on it. I think this is the sort of the glue now to show people that we're the real deal. Like we everything we do is authentic.
Yeah.
With an upcoming mud event in eastern Texas, both UTV Underground and S3 Power Sports hope to grow the relatively new sports that involve side-by-sides.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for letting us do it, man. I hope you have a good time here, man, bro. You're gonna be a rock star at Mud Nationals, and I promise you that, man.
Even with the excitement of the S3 Power Sports mud bike build, the looming thoughts of the upcoming race weighs heavy on the team.
And it was more or less, we wanted to feel like and know after this race, we can compete with the best in the world. We can compete with these guys that have won huge races and won championships.
The hottest topic at Tech and Contingency is the first ever land rush start that pits 15 drivers head-to-head while racing into the first turn. A whole shot off the line would be an incredible boost of confidence for the remainder of the race.
You know, that's how we race back home.
Yeah,
in our cross country.
A lot of guys are used to land rush starts,
Yeah,
you know, so.
no big deal.
And it's a dead engine.
These guys have never done that. And back home in our cross country racing, that's how we start. If you don't have the nerve, you'll lift, and that means you're not going to make the first turn first. So.
In a typical Best in the Desert race, teams draw numbers and line up at the starting line in pairs, then race head-to-head at 30-second intervals, keeping racers relatively spread out as they race against the clock across fast and sometimes brutal desert trails and roads. If last month's Parker 250 in Parker, Arizona didn't prove to take a toll on the S3 Racing UTVs, then the Polaris Razor UTV World Championships in Laughlin will surely be a humbling experience.
We wanted to feel like we belong with these guys, and this was going to be the first opportunity we had to kind of gauge that.
In the first points race of the year, the Parker 250 brought out plenty of teams hoping to get an early edge on the field heading into the UTV Championships.
I'm 54 and a rookie, and having to learn some things.
For S3 Racing, only having one Can-Am Maverick turbo built at the time should have been enough to get an idea of what the new turbo was capable of. Dustin and Shane were in the newly built turbo two-seater, while Mr. Mal and Bob were in a borrowed Maverick 1000.
Every time you strap in, you're learning something. So hopefully I'm paying attention.
In the Best of the Desert point system, in order to stay in the points chase, teams must start every race or be disqualified.
As far as the expectations for S3, we initially went into this with just, we want to finish.
You ready to hit the horn? I want to get around these people as quick as we can.
Dustin and Shane's confidence in their car and racing abilities were soaring through the roof as they were able to pass racers and make up time on the leader.
We were there to prove that we were a legitimate force in this sport.
We got to finish, Shane. Whatever we got to do, we got to finish.
Then the team started experiencing mechanical issues and were forced to leave the race.
That's all we'll do. Yeah, all we can do is 32 miles an hour. That freaking sucks. Yep. Something electrical has done got hot. Yeah. Pull it better.
Didn't get to finish, man. Ran strong on the first lap. Passed quite a few people, made up some position, but electrical issues. So not anything you can foresee or prepare for. It's, I guess, the new car blues.
Mr. Mal and Bob, on the other hand, were able to keep pushing their borrowed Can-Am Maverick 1000 for another 100 miles to finish the race.
We're waiting on Mr. Mal. He was running strong. He was ahead of me for a long time. And we got our fingers crossed.
Yes, sir, we're getting close. 71 coming up. This must be the finish line. That's right.
Chomping at the bit, waiting for him to get in, wondering if he was stranded on the side of the road. But he made it, so all is well.
First Best in the Desert race. Long ways to come. It's a lot of fun, though. Yeah, but it's another sport. I love it. It's fast.
I am very proud of him. He's pretty confident himself. He's already can say he's ready for the next one already. So.
Good job, Mal. Thank you. Awesome job, man.
We finished, That's all me and Bob want to do is finish.
I love it. Worked the hell out of you.
About the last 40 miles, we blew the bottoms out of the reservoirs on the back shocks, and it was a handful to drive.
Yeah, it's, Best in the Desert, it beats you up, especially you're 54 and a little overweight.
Started our first desert race, and we finished, so well worth it. Be back.
The race was a moral victory, but the underlying fact that their S3 Racing Can-Am Maverick Turbo didn't finish made the team reevaluate their future in desert racing.
So with a very poor showing in the first race, we had a lot to prove at this thing that we're ready to do this type of off-road racing.
Race day in Laughlin. The S3 race team is up early and ready for the start of the race.
I'm a little nervous, like as always, though. That's not out of the norm.
Just like with every racing that we do, man, I get terrible anxiety before these things. I've always been that way. And so I've got myself so nervous right now, I almost don't want to race.
Ready? what you work for a month, no sleep, and it comes down to today.
And just hope we can set a good pace, man. Hope we can run fast and the car stays together and all those things.
Sing a little prayer. It'll be all right. We'll be good, but I'll be better when it's over.
Like going through your mind, did I do this? Did I do that? Make sure I do this. Make sure I do that.
You got a lot going on, and so I think apprehensive is the word.
Not knowing what will happen in the next 3 hours, the eagerness and unnerving excitement for the race carries through from UTV to UTV. The dead-engine land rush start to the 160-mile race has all teams on edge as they prepare to push it a little bit harder into the first turn in hopes to come out on the other side unscathed.
This is what freaking fires me up. This stuff.
You ready for this, old man? Me too.
So it's kind of surreal to be parked next to these guys that have won championships and done so well and made great names for themselves in the sport.
Mr. Mal, do y'all have a copy? It's almost time.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you, sir. Y'all too. Be safe.
Before the race, all teams drew numbers to see who was going to be one of the lucky 15 to start on the first row. Not only will the front 15 have a better chance of winning, but the side-by-sides that leap to the front will also have the benefit of clean air passing through their car's intake, keeping the car running strong, which in turn means faster.
Yeah, we were in the second row. Dustin and Shane were in the first row.
I'm actually pretty happy with our starting position.
7 minutes. Look at the deal, 7 minutes.
7 minutes. I'm so nervous I might pass out, dude.
So you're sitting there counting down to the green flag drop. Everything goes silent. It's always the calm before the storm.
Man, I'm sweating.
Motors off. Motors off.
My heart is pounding.
No motors are running. Everybody's sitting there waiting, their finger on their button, ready to take off at the drop of the green flag.
Dustin's in front. Dustin's in front.
As if in a dream, Dustin and Shane Dowden in their Can-Am Maverick Turbo pulled a hole shot and blazed through the first corner in first place.
And so it's basically a pack of wolves chasing you, and you feel like you're a deer running from a pack of lions.
Hey, we got the freaking hole shot. There's freaking video on us with a helicopter.
So you're in a mad scramble to drive as hard as you can, make as few mistakes as you can, and put as much time on the guy behind you as you can.
While Dustin and Shane try to put as much distance on second place as possible, Mr. Mal and Bob are at the starting line waiting for the green flag for row 2.
Fuel pump's on. I'm ready for a start button. Here we go.
Having hopes of getting an early jump on the field, Mr. Mal had trouble getting the car in gear and inevitably started the race mid-pack.
Of course, immediately, if you're not the first car, you're getting a mud bath. Your shield's getting peppered and you can't see, trying to keep it clean.
I
can't see. 2 feet behind the guy, trying not to slam into him, hoping someone doesn't slam into you from the back or the side.
You zoom down, talk to me, Bob. I can't see the track.
And while all that's going on, you're going about 50 miles an hour, and it's dusty, and it's kind of hard to see.
Talk to me.
You're paying attention, trust me.
Tell me, you're standing this car and I'm me. Now I got some oil.
While Mr. Mal and Bob struggle to see the track and try to work themselves out of the middle of the pack, Dustin and Shane in first place are entering the Fox Proving Grounds.
Hold on. Yes, sir. How about a rebound in the front?
Which with its namesake is destined to be the toughest and roughest part of the Polaris RZR UTV Championship, a half-mile stretch of large whoops designed to test a UTV suspension and one's nerves, in order to see just how hard racers will push their side-by-sides.
Which way, right or left?
we paid the price whenever we hit the proving grounds, and it took its toll on the car. When we broke into the proving grounds, we hit that not knowing how bad it was, not knowing how rough it was going to be, and we broke 2 rear axles.
The rear left, I feel like. That sucks, man.
And so we had to finish that whole first lap, leading the race, but with 2 rear broke axles.
With 2 broke rear axles, Dustin and Shane decide to keep pushing the car to try to limp to the pits, which are still 5 miles out. They're just hoping that they can get it fixed quickly and keep competing in the race. Now 3 miles back, things haven't gotten any better for Mr. Mal and Bob as they are still caught in the middle of the pack with limited visibility.
I can't see it. Go for it, man. Hey, are we gonna follow the kids? What are we gonna do?
The only thing going through my mind at that point is they get out in front of me and I don't see a car in front of me. That someone doesn't wreck, stop, or flip and I plow into them. That's my biggest fear.
Then the inevitable happens. Mr. Mal and Bob hit a berm on the racetrack in a corner with low visibility, with the rest of the pack passing inches from their toppled side-by-side.
We blew through a left-hand turn that had about a 5-foot bank on it.
We're in a bad spot.
We started hearing cars, metal on metal. Poor Craig Scanlon, he flipped in front of me. He wasn't 30 feet from me. I had no idea he was there, flipped. When the dust cleared, Craig and his co-driver Keith got out and they actually got hit 3 times while they were still in the car. Luckily, nobody was hurt.
With a near miss for both teams, the guys calmed their nerves and assessed the damage.
Unbeknownst to me, the rear right tire was completely buried under the dirt. You couldn't even see it when I got out, but it managed to pop a star in one of the CVs, so we lost the drive to the rear right.
Dead in the water and increasingly losing time, Mr. Mal and Bob have their work cut out for them. The only thing they can do at this point is start trying to dig their car out.
The only disappointment to me was we didn't get to race longer.
Meanwhile, Dustin and Shane have limped their Can-Am Maverick Turbo 4-seater around the track and are pulling into the pits.
Rear left is broke.
With the vision of first place bleeding fast.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
It's nerve-wracking. It's almost like time stands still for you, but these guys are just driving like rocket ships by you.
You know what sucks? We would have put down the fastest lap time. Easily the fastest lap time.
We had to chalk that up as a lesson learned that there's a fine line between pushing the car too fast and keeping the car reliable and making it survive.
Everybody clear?
After leading their first ever best in the desert race, then breaking 2 rear axles and 1 rear hub, the S3 race mechanics spent less than 10 minutes getting Dustin and Shane's Can-Am Maverick Turbo back on the racetrack.
Our guys were in a mad scramble, and they changed 2 axles faster than I've ever seen 2 axles changed.
Even with losing 18 places and close to 20 minutes off the leader, the first lap in the Polaris RZR UTV World Championship was nothing short of a moral victory for the team.
We gave up the pole position for pushing a little bit too hard.
Hit your horn.
Now Dustin and Shane want to see what the newly built Can-Am Turbo 4-seater can do to finish the race.
You know, we have a lot of time to make up. We feel like it's not undoable, but we're at a huge disadvantage. And we've got to freaking turn it on.
That suspension's like a player.
Shane and I, as grueling as it is and as much focus it takes, we really started turning it on.
Just trying to watch ahead of us.
You don't feel like you're outgunned. I feel like we could run with the best of the cars out there because our car will absolutely fly.
As Dustin and Shane push their Can-Am Maverick Turbo as hard as they possibly can, they for the first time come across the carnage of their teammates, Mr. Mal and Bob, still trying to dig out their side-by-side.
Craig Keith came over, and the idea was to get us unstuck, and we'd take a tow strap and get them back on all fours. And so me and Bob and Craig and Keith commenced to digging out from under my car and finally managed to get it unstuck. Got the car out, we got a broke rear right. I've probably got another 14 miles to go to get to the pits.
Back it.
Pushed it as hard as we could with three-wheel drive, got back to the pit, and of course proceeded to change the rear right and get back in the thing.
Now with both Can-Am Maverick turbos on the track again, the S3 race team does what it can to salvage what's left of the race. Mr. Mal and Bob in a two-seater turbo, and Dustin and Shane in the four-seater turbo. With no chance of a podium for either side-by-side, the guys showed that their journey from Louisiana wasn't made in vain. For the next 2 hours, they hunkered down and showed the Polaris Heavy Limited class that their Can-Am Maverick turbos have what it takes to be competitive. And both cars finished the race.
It was gratifying. It was surreal. It was a storm of emotions come over you to see that checkered flag wave.
We finished it, man. We didn't get past the whole race, man. And we passed probably 20 or 30 cars. The whole time we got past was when we broke.
Even though we had fought through 2 rear broke axles, we'd fought through 2 rear flat tires, we had done so much. You made it. You accomplished what you set out to do.
All right, we got the 1979 Can-Am entry rolling up here onto the podium.
You know, we finished. It wasn't the way we wanted to do it. At some point, you got to back up and go, well, you need the points.
Well, congratulations on making it to the finish line. A lot of them that didn't. So, Malcolm, tip of the cap to you, my friend.
That's all me and Bob want to do is finish. Get down to the year and go, you know, we finished every one of them races.
We're way back. I don't care. We finished.
I think we're going to do a lot better than that. I know we're going to do a lot better than that.
Being that we were able to finish our first desert race, you know, we got a whole shot. We did some cool things. We ran the car hard. We ran the car fast. We showed everybody we can compete with everybody.
I got to tell you guys, we talked about style points with Craig Scanlon, but your style points coming up here, you're giving him a run for your money. If we're not going to win, we want to come in guns blazing.
Even though we are outsiders, and this is not our type of racing, and we're kind of coming in as the underdog, everybody has been really receptive.
Uh-oh. They're both flat.
So our next goal is going to be a podium. Not necessarily first place, but we want to be on the podium. And so the next hard push for S3 Power Sports is to be standing on the podium at the end of one of these races.